Going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, June 9th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 12:22 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Korean Peninsula. So, South Korea has put their military on high alert with emergency standby orders being given to several reserve units in order to prepare for possible escalation from North Korea. This was reported by Yonhap News, which is a South Korean news agency. So, South Korea putting their military on high alert, including their reserves, to prepare for a possible provocation, okay? And this comes after North Korea sent hundreds more balloons full of trash and feces on Saturday into South Korea. Some of them actually landed in the capital of South Korea, Seoul. So things are really escalating on the Korean Peninsula. We have to keep an eye on Korea. My big concern is that Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping are going to use North Korea to open up a new front for the West to deal with. Okay, so if North Korea starts attacking South Korea or maybe launches a limited invasion of South Korea, then the US is going to have to focus on that instead of focusing on Taiwan and Europe. And then Russia and China will make their moves. Okay, so keep an eye on Korea. Huge news. And what you're looking at here is a report from the British government about the state of Britain's military and whether Britain is ready for war or not. And this was released on April 23rd. And just a few days ago, Germany released their World War III civil defense plans, talking about how subways and metro stations are going to be used for fallout shelters and all kinds of doomsday preparation scenarios. And now we have the British government focusing on preparedness for war. Latvia has already released a survival manual for its citizens in the event of an invasion. And we went over that survival manual in detail a few weeks back. But what was concerning about the Latvian survival manual is that one of the first things it talks about is getting a fallout shelter, okay? So obviously that means that Latvia is concerned that they could be attacked with nuclear weapons, if that's one of the first things that they discuss in the manual. Okay, how to find a fallout shelter, finding basements, radiation protection, things like that. We have the British government now preparing for war. We have the German government preparing for war. They said that they were going to be stockpiling food and water and setting up shelters for their citizens. Okay, so this is very, very serious, guys. Okay, we are on the verge of a war between NATO and Russia. It's coming, guys. It's no longer just about Ukraine. Russia has already said this weekend that the West allowing Ukraine to use their weapons inside of Russian territory crossed a red line. And now Russia is saying that NATO is in direct involvement in the war. Okay. And so that opens us up to attacks from Russia. Russia is deploying several warships, including a nuclear powered submarine that can carry cruise missiles to Cuba. And they're going to stay in the Caribbean and in Cuba through at least the summer, potentially a permanent deployment. Okay, so this is absolutely huge news. We also currently have NATO conducting a massive naval exercise in the Baltic Sea with hundreds of warships from all NATO countries, led by the UK. All right, so you see what's going on here. we're doing exercises in the Baltic Sea, and Russia's going to be doing exercises in the Caribbean Sea. And make no mistake about it, guys, all these quote unquote exercises we're seeing, either NATO exercises, Russian exercises, Chinese exercises, South Korean exercises, Japanese exercises. These are not exercises, guys. These are deployments. Most of them are forward deployments. They're calling them exercises, okay? Like when Belarus did tactical nuclear weapons drills with Russia a month ago. Those weren't drills, guys. They were literally loading Iskander missiles with nuclear warheads on them onto the Iskander launchers and positioning them in launch locations and putting them on standby. Okay? That's not a drill, guys. That's a forward deployment. NATO is doing this so-called exercise in the Baltic Sea right now, the Balt Ops. Yeah, that's a forward deployment, guys. Okay, they're moving naval assets into the Baltic. So get prepared, guys. Things are really escalating in Europe. And we also know that there's been a lot of so-called exercises in Lithuania and the Baltic countries the last 2 months. Those are also forward deployments, okay? So both sides are positioning the chess pieces now, okay? And the U.S. will conduct another ICBM test, which they're describing as a major follow on test after the two tests last week. Okay, so this third test is going to take place at the end of this month, and it's going to be a major follow on test. So I'm wondering if they're not going to test a missile with multiple reentry vehicles on it. Okay, that's going to be interesting. And the Ukrainian military intelligence claims it hit a Russian fifth generation Sukhoi 57 fighter jet at the Akhtubinsk Air Base. Okay, so Russia's not going to be happy about that. This update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link preparewithnYprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It includes over 2,000 calories per day, breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks, all contained within 6 rugged water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. So use the link preparewithnYprepper.com to get $200 off or 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. Free shipping is included. They also have a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running various discounts. And to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo when you get to preparewithnYprepper.com at the top of the page, and you'll see their general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running discounts here. So use the link preparewithnYprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. Here's some satellite pictures of before and after. So on the left, you have June the 7th, and on the right, you have June the 8th. Okay, so they're claiming they hit this Sukhoi 57 with either missiles or drones. We're not sure, but you can see here on the picture, there's these black spots next to the plane, and those are the charred, and that's the charred asphalt. Okay, so very serious, guys. Ukraine is striking some very high value assets in Russia the last few weeks and the last 2 or 3 months. They took out 3 of Russia's long range radar systems. Now they're taking out their Sukhoi 57 fifth generation fighter jets. Okay, this is serious, guys. Things are really, really escalating. And we have the famous propagandist from Russia saying that Russia needs to turn the Atlantic into a sanitary zone. I'm guessing he's talking about Europe. He said that basically Europe needs to become a sanitary zone. And I'm assuming he's also talking about the US. And when Russians say sanitary zone, it's basically just a zone of total destruction, okay, like Bakhmut. Okay, they're talking about total destruction here. So this is very serious. And the Russian military command is reportedly transferring an unspecified number of forces to the Ukrainian Russian border near the Kharkiv Oblast. So Russia is reinforcing their forces in the Kharkiv Oblast. Now, there's been some conflicting information about what's been going on in the Kharkiv Oblast. The Ukrainian government and Ukrainian propaganda and the Ukrainian president are all saying that Russia's advance has been stopped in the Kharkiv Oblast, and actually, many are now saying that the Russians are retreating from Kharkiv. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. Okay. I think the Russians are still slowly advancing, or maybe they've been halted. But even if they've been halted, I don't think that it's going to be a permanent halt. Okay. This is just a temporary pause. Russia is still winning. Unfortunately, that's the situation that Ukraine is in. Okay. Russia is winning the war. They've taken over 20% of Ukraine's territory. Okay. And propaganda is not going to help that. Okay. What's going to help are real solutions to this problem rather than making up stories that Russia is on the run. Okay. And they're retreating, which is just not true. Okay. And Russia has 150 million people, and Putin will draft every single one of them and send them to the front line if he has to. Okay, he doesn't care. Just look at Stalin in World War II. Okay, 20 million Russians died in World War II. Okay, so don't think for a minute that, these losses that Russia has incurred so far in Ukraine are going to somehow collapse the Russian military. Okay, 250,000, 500,000 losses is nothing for Russia. Okay, they would have to lose like 10 million for them to really start to feel it. All right, that's just the way they fight wars. That's Russian history. Okay, and Russian forces are still advancing along the entire front line in Ukraine, and they have continued to advance in the Kharkiv Oblast, as well as outside of Avdiivka, Chasiv Yar, and near Kupiansk, and this is being reported by the Institute for the Study of War. Okay, so Russia is making small gains in all of these critical parts of the front line: Kharkiv, Avdiivka, Chasiv Yar, and Kupiansk. Not any massive gains, but small gains every single day. They're gaining maybe 100 meters or something, right? But that adds up after a month. That's a mile or 2 miles or 3 miles. So they make these small gains every single day, and it adds up. And Ukraine just cannot keep up with the Russians because they have so many troops and a lot more equipment, a lot more artillery shells, and the front line is so massive that Ukraine just cannot, protect the entire front line. It's impossible. They don't have the resources. Okay. And Biden warned on Saturday that Putin is not going to stop in Ukraine during a meeting with Emmanuel Macron. He said Putin is not going to stop at Ukraine. All of Europe will be threatened. We are not going to let that happen. Standing alongside Macron, he emphasized the United States is standing strong with Ukraine. We will not, I say it again, walk away. So strong words there from Biden. And the Netherlands and Germany are going to build a joint European production line for Patriot missiles, per a report by Dutch public broadcaster NOS. The line will reportedly be set up in Germany, and the project has received the green light from the US. So they're going to start churning out more Patriot missiles. Okay, it's about time. It took 2.5 years of Ukraine getting pounded every single day for them to finally realize, oh, yeah, we got to start making more Patriot missiles. And if you're Vladimir Putin and you're seeing all this, chaos and disarray in NATO, you're thinking, wow, this is NATO. This is my opportunity to attack the Baltics because NATO is chaotic. They can't make decisions. They work slowly. It takes them a long time to ramp up their production. Okay. And so if you're Putin right now, you're thinking this is the best time to make a move. And Bloomberg is reporting that the U.S. is spending over $5 billion to overhaul artillery factories to produce 100,000 units of 155 millimeter shells monthly, up from 14,000 shells per month before the invasion of Ukraine. And Finland refused to disclose the content of their military aid package to Ukraine. And a loud kaboom was heard near Moscow, according to local residents on social media. Overnight last night, eyewitnesses claimed to have seen a flash and then heard a kaboom near a residential complex. Okay, so very concerning. It could have been potentially a Ukrainian drone or missile. And there were reports that Ukrainian drones attacked the Mozdok airfield in the Caucasus region of Russia in North Ossetia. According to Russian media, destruction and fire were recorded. And at this airfield, MiG-31Ks and Tu-22 bombers are stationed. So the MiG-31Ks are built to deliver the hypersonic missiles that have been attacking Ukraine, and the Tu-22s are used to release the AS-15 Kent missiles at Ukraine. So very interesting. And the Czech police have announced increased security measures due to the threat of a terror attack. And what you're looking at here is a picture of Robert Fico, the Prime Minister of Slovakia. He survived getting shot 5 times recently, and he appears to be pretty healthy. I mean, he looks really healthy for being shot 5 times. He was voting for the European Parliament. Okay, so very interesting. And overnight last night, we had a lot of reconnaissance activity in the Eastern Mediterranean. We had this U.S. Navy reconnaissance drone patrolling the coast of Israel and Lebanon and Syria. We also had a U.S. Navy P-3 Orion, that's a sub-hunter plane, also patrolling the same area here off the coast of Israel and Lebanon. So something's brewing over here. And Hezbollah says that they fired a salvo of Falak 2 rockets at a military command center in northern Israel. This is the first time that Hezbollah has ever fired these rockets at Israel. Okay, so Hezbollah is ratcheting up the weapons usage, and the number of rockets that they're launching at Israel are getting more and more every single day, and they're using more advanced weapons. So escalation is happening, and tonight the Israeli War Cabinet is going to be meeting. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that meeting. My guess is they're going to decide to invade Lebanon. Couple of days ago, I showed you guys some video footage of all the Israeli main battle tanks that have been moved to the border of Lebanon in recent days. And Israeli forces rescued 4 hostages in Gaza on Saturday, and American intelligence assisted in locating these hostages. IDF spokesman Daniel Hagari confirmed that the rescued hostages were held in civilian homes of families affiliated with Hamas, and that Hamas terrorists were guarding the houses. What's interesting is one of the hostages was held at the home of an Al Jazeera journalist. Wow. And this morning, there have been intensive flights of Israeli warplanes over the capital of Lebanon, Beirut. Okay, so they're probably doing some reconnaissance flights. And I think you're going to see Israeli fighter jets taking out Hezbollah anti-air systems pretty soon before they go in on the ground. And a commercial ship off the coast of Yemen was hit by a Houthi missile yesterday. And the U.S. has officially started to withdraw its troops from the country of Niger. And what you're looking at here is the flight path of a U.S. nuclear war command and control plane that was up in the air late last night. Pretty unusual to have one of these airborne so late on a Saturday night. Saturday nights are usually dead when it comes to nuclear warplane activity unless something is going on. And that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I will be back later on tonight with more breaking news. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. Also, I want to mention I'm going to be doing more live streams going forward. So be on the lookout for that. And until later on, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out.